candidacy for the presidency. And that is wonderful, and I've gotten to know Tom, and I've often been impressed with, every once in a while I meet a politician, maybe 3 or 4 or 5, that actually continue to study and read and understand economics, and he's been doing this, and that really puts a lot of confidence in Tom. But he's really been working years. That is pretty important. Most people in Washington don't have the biggest idea what it even means to have sound economic policies. They just, it's sort of a gut thing. But the real tragedy is that there's been three economists over the last century that have had a great deal of influence. One was Keynes. And then there was another person that influenced more people, more college students than anybody else in this country. His name was Paul Samuelson. Samuelson wrote the textbook that most anybody graduating from any average college have been exposed to. And he is the one that in 1989 he made the very, very bold statement that it looked like communism was really working good, and it's been verified, and all those critics of communism were absolutely wrong. Of course, between 1989 and the year 1991, communism was proven to be a total failure. So, of course, now today all you have to do is pick up your weekly newspaper, and you will, daily newspaper, you will be reading like Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman's another one. Now, it happens that most people in Washington, get influenced by individuals like that. But the individual in Washington, I bump into him now and then, that has been most influenced by that school of thought. I think his name is Ben something. Ben Bernanke. But ideas do have consequences, and that's why I'm so delighted to be a strong supporter for Tom and appreciate his friendship and appreciate all his work. And you need to keep him in the Senate, and you need to make because someday you might decide you need to send him to Washington. Things are definitely changing. There is a revolution going on, and it's not narrow. It's not just in the Republican circles. It's not just in America, but worldwide there is proof of failure of communism, and right now what we're witnessing today in these last 5 years is the failure of Keynesianism, failure of central banking, failure of fiat money, and all they have to show for all these years of all these promises is debt. And they don't know how to get out of it, so what do? They say, well, we do have a problem, they did that. What they say is, we need more spending, more debt, and print more money. Then they wonder why we haven't gotten out of the recession, depression that's going on. I believe we're in a depression. If everybody who was suffering from a low income or loss of income or lower standard of living and being on the dole, I'll tell you what, it's probably many more dependent on this system and on government than it was even in the Depression. So unemployment rates, even measured by the free market economists, is closer to 23%. But we have a lot of people, a huge number, 46 million people taking food stamps, and that number's growing exponentially. We have a lot of people still get disability or unemployment benefits, and then after a year or two, they get bumped off. And guess what has exploded? The disability insurance. So they go from unemployment to disability. There's more people on disability right now, but they had been on unemployment. So this is limited. That's the whole point. That is the message. This system is limited, the people know it, and they're concerned about it, but they just haven't put it all together what the solution is. But the solution is not difficult. If you have one thing that you can do that will solve all the problems, is send only individuals to Washington, D.C. that actually read and believed and followed their oath of office to follow the Constitution. currency and prevent the Fed from printing money because the Fed wouldn't exist. And you indeed would have protection of civil liberties. And this is what the founders believed in, limited government. And they knew if you believed in liberty and you understood this as a God-given right, that it is personal liberty, but it's also economic liberty. And I've complained so often and tried to make this point that in the last 100 years, we've divided ourselves. And we are divided into one category that pretends they protect economic liberty, and the other side pretends they protect personal liberty. But it's all one and the same. It's our right. If you have a right to your life, and you own and you're responsible for your own body and what you produce, you ought to be able to keep what you produce as well. Which of course means that not only would we not have a Federal Reserve System, we would not have an income tax under that system of government of freedom. But as our government grows, it's always at the expense of personal liberty. And as personal liberty is diminished, the standard of living goes down. And this is what we're witnessing. Over the many years, in the last 100 years, since the Fed was created, yes, there were ups and downs, but there was still a lot of productivity. But right now, the productivity isn't happening. The world still trusts us because we are a wealthy nation, a powerful nation, so they're still saying, well, we'll still take your dollars. But how long will they keep taking our dollars? Because when they take our dollars, guess what happens? Production goes overseas. We're not producing because they're taking our dollars and we're sitting around debating and just accepting these goods and services. But that is coming to an end. That is what's been discovered in these last 5 years. In 2007, when I ran before, in 2008, it was just barely cracking the ice on some of these issues. But it's dramatically different now. People are aware that they're sick and tired of all those wars overseas too and all the waste around the world. Now, I've always said a revolution, a true revolution, not an ideological revolution, just as Keynesianism has been infiltrated both parties, a true revolution has to infiltrate the whole people. And I'm sure you heard that just about a week ago, we had a vote and we tested this, and we had bipartisan support and easily beat the Democrats on auditing the Fed. We had almost 100 Democrats vote for it, along with all the Republicans except one. So this was not done because all of a sudden they had all studied Austrian economics in Washington. They haven't been doing this. But a lot of you people had sent a message to your members of Congress, and they got the message. So that's the way it works. The people's attitudes will be reflected in their Congress if you let it be known. And this is why this has been so important, because the people are waking up. It's a big issue. You just can't have these deficits if you had honest money. If you had honest money, you'd have to tax the people and people would rebel. It's so deceitful, because what they do is they finance big government, the immediate payment doesn't come due till later, and then the people who suffer, nobody can identify them because it's usually the middle class and the poor, and they suffer, they lose their jobs. The system we have today is so biased against the middle class, and it's such a rip-off, and people in Washington that promote these programs, on both sides of the aisle, are always doing it to take care of the people, take care of the people. At the same time, they'll have housing programs, make sure everybody has a house. That is a good idea, to have actually number of people have a house. It wasn't wonderful. People were buying their houses and they could borrow even more money. But when the bubble burst, which was a predictable event, guess who got bailed out? The people who were running the derivatives market, making billions and billions of dollars. People with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they got the bailouts. And guess what? The people who were supposed to get help, the people who were supposed to get their houses, they lost their jobs and they lost their houses. But this evidence now is becoming very, very clear. So we're in a stage now where the more people discover there's a problem, they're going to say, well, what do we replace it with? Well, we know what we want to replace it with. Using sound money and free markets and property rights. That's what we want to replace it with. The 20th century has shown that communism and pure socialism failed. See, that was predicted by Mises, the great Austrian communist, as early as 1912. He said that it won't work because of those pricing structure. It is also said that this system would fail too, and that is what's happening. So what will we replace with? Will we win automatically? Absolutely not. It will not be automatic. Do we have a good chance under today's conditions? I would say we have an excellent chance. We have the momentum, we have morality on our side, we have the Constitution on our side, we have American traditions on our side, but those who will challenge us will be more fascism. That is, big business and big government going to get together, and you'll hear it all the time. We've already partners with big business and big labor and all that stuff. So that is, as long as they're sending contracts from the businessman and they're on the insiders of the banking system, that is big business and government. And those are the individuals that we have to worry about. And now we are becoming more militaristic against our own people. I mean, this current president we have now actually believes it's no big deal that he has the right to assassinate American citizens. No charges, no trial, no whatsoever. Secret prison. It's been going on for 10 years now. We are losing our rights of privacy. We're losing our rights in our court system. And this is a bad sign. But I tell you what, in my last 5 years, even in the last year, regardless of exactly what happens in Tampa, I'll tell you what, there's room to be very pleased and very proud of what we have been doing in the freedom movement, because we are gaining strength. We have gained strength from the universities and the young people. And we're gaining strength among another group of people who knew what was right and sort of dropped out. They tried to hold things together intellectually, and they are the remnant. And the energy that comes from the young people is overflowing into this group of individuals that now are coming out and getting involved. So I see a lot of reasons to be optimistic, but not overly confident. So this is the reason why we have to keep a lot of good people in government and encourage more. And I think this is happening. We just have numerous people around the country. And it's also the reason that I've met Tom Davis, and he's been pretty excited about what's happening here. So I want to now go ahead and introduce Tom. I want you to give him a really, really great reception. And I want to thank Tom for all his work and effort, because